Hi guys, welcome to another Chinchilla focused episode. Now if you're familiar with my channel at all, you know Minx, our pet chinchilla, is a big part of this channel. She's sort of a mascot in a way. She's someone who we focus a lot more on some more comedic episodes with her, really trying to get her personality across, but this time I want to make it a little bit more of an educational video, talking a little bit more about what a chinchilla is, what it's like to have a chinchilla as a pet, and whether or not a chinchilla might be a good pet for you. Chinchillas originate from the Andes Mountains in South America. While they are still present in those natural environments, they are now considered an endangered species. In their natural environment, they live in dry, rocky outcrops and high altitudes. This origin explains why chinchillas like to have vertical cages with lots of ledges to jump to and from and lots of little alcoves to hide and sleep in. It also explains why the chinchilla evolved to need a dust bath to maintain their nice coat, and why they need to avoid having excess moisture on their fur. While living in these mountainous regions, perhaps they were the ancient people that created these marvelous civilizations. Chinchillas come in two types, one with smaller ears, more roundish featured face, and a shorter, bushier tail. The other one looks a little bit more traditionally rodent-like, with a slightly longer, skinnier tail, longer ears, and a protruding face. Aside from the two types, chinchillas come in many different varieties of colors, either pure black or pure white, or different variations. Typically, the non-purebred chinchillas, these sort of grayish looking ones like Minx, tend to have longer lifespans and be healthier than the purebred, which are also more expensive to obtain. So this is Minx's home in our living room here. This is actually a ferret nation, something that my wife got years and years ago, thinking it was much better than the typical chinchilla cages, giving her a lot more room to run around in. And it's actually become fairly common in recent years. A lot of people have now caught on to that and have now been using this as chinchilla cages, especially if you have multiple chinchillas. They need a lot of room to run around, they need a lot of room to jump, especially lots of different ledges. They really like to have a lot of space, and many of them like to be up a little bit higher. They don't like to be up on the floor level. It can make them a little more anxious. They like to be more at eye level with you, so it's good to think about. Get something along this line that gives them a lot of vertical space to jump, and a lot of places like her little home up there, especially the wood one up top here, gives her a nice comfortable place to sleep, especially during the day. Sometimes if we're a little more active and she wants to sleep, she can kind of huddle in there, or she goes behind that little stump right in there. So those are definitely things you want to consider when buying a home for your chinchilla, is making sure they has a lot of space to jump around and a lot of dark little spaces for them to take naps in and to cuddle up in during the day. Nearly all chinchillas really like to be scratched underneath their chin. Some like to be scratched on top of their head, and others will allow you to roll them over in the palm of your hand and let them rub them on the belly. Chinchillas have very, very thick fur. They're actually much smaller creatures than they appear to be. If you really try to rub them, put your finger in, you can feel how thick that fur is, and that's partly why it has to remain dry. If a chinchilla gets wet, a lot of that moisture is simply trapped and will ruin their coat. So to keep their fur healthy, you have to comb them rather frequently. How frequently depends on what time of year it is. A chinchilla will tend to shed a little bit in the spring and fall. That partially can depend on where you live though, how much the temperature changes, how humid your environment is. That will depend on the amount the chinchilla sheds, so you need to maintain their fur though by giving them a nice comb, and a lot of them will enjoy that. Many chinchillas will sit there and let you brush them or comb them for a while. They really like the way it feels. It makes them feel more comfortable and clean, and also one of the most important things is to give them a frequent dust bath. This mimics what they would do in their natural environment to keep their coat healthy. Now Minx will normally go in and roll around for a little bit and then pop her head out and come back out, and she'll go back in a couple more times, so you want to leave it there for a little while, but you don't want to just leave it in her cage sitting there. It'll get dust everywhere and you don't want too much. It's kind of like showering yourself way too much. You lose some of those essential oils. Same thing. Let her keep it in there for maybe 10-15 minutes at most until she is completely covered and you've noticed she's rolled around in a bunch. They absolutely love dust baths, and as you can see here, here's the wink. That's partly how you know how a chinchilla is happy. You can really determine a lot by the way they act, and that's an indicator that is very similar to a dog wagging their tail. Here's an example of a hummus stone, one of the many things that you should give your chinchilla along with maybe many wooden chew toys, things to keep their teeth healthy. The teeth will keep growing much in the same way as other similar creatures like rats, where if you don't give them things to chew on and gnaw on, their teeth will grow and eventually hurt them. A little nice thing here you'll see on both levels is the cooling stone, and this is not 100% necessary, but they will enjoy it. You keep that in the freezer and it just keeps it really cold, and you put that in on really hot days. We try to keep the apartment nice and cool for her, but every once in a while on those hot summer days it can be nice for her to relax on. Here's a good example of her primary food, these little container of pellets here, and that's the one she's actively eating. And we have one over here that is vacuum sealed to keep that fresh, and right here is her litter. One of the most important additions to their diet besides the pellets are timothy hay. That gives them lots of fibrous roughage and really adds to their diet, and they need to have a little bit more variety than just the pellets. Let's give Minx some timothy hay here. Let's move this litter box out of the way here. Minx, move that into the corner. Chinchillas will do that a lot. If you add something new to their environment or shift things around, they'll go ahead then and move things how they want them. You can also give them treats to add variety, either dried fruits, particularly something like banana chips, because they are also a little bit crunchy and they like crunchy things for their teeth. Make sure though they're ones without added things like salt and sugar, especially because the natural sugars of the fruit by themselves are more than enough for the chinchilla. You can buy them specialized treats, but at the same time, make sure the treats are given out minimally. They will like them and it adds a little bit of variety to their diet, but again, if you eat nothing but Burger King and junk food, you're going to get sick. Same thing with them. You can notice with their little poop pellets, if they are really soft or almost like diarrhea, you know they're giving them too much sugar in their diet or they're getting sick. Chinchillas are very curious creatures. They are definitely timid, a little bit skittish, and they can be easily frightened. They can be overly stressed. They need a lot of attention and care taken to them. They need to feel loved. They need to feel safe. Again, like I said, they are creatures that can be very timid and can be prone to even having a heart attack if they can be easily scared. But at the same time, if you get them more used to you and their environment and you don't subject them to a lot of very intense, quick changes or incredibly loud, scary noises, you don't want to blow a blowhorn anywhere near a chinchilla, you can really freak them out. But if you treat them carefully, they can be creatures that will live many, many years for you. So some of the best parts about having a chinchilla are the way they're very sociable animals, very cute, very cuddly. They really attach themselves to a handful of people and really need that social interaction. She's the kind of creature where she likes to be in the living room where she is around. Yep. Yeah, Daddy's talking. She likes to be in the living room where she is around, she can see us, she can hear us, so we can come up and pet her. If we spend a lot of time in the office space and not in the living room, or say we're in the bedroom watching TV or something, she'll often do things to try and make us come into the room, as in make the sound that she makes when she's hurt or surprised. And she's perfectly fine, just trying to get our attention so we can come in because we haven't been paying attention to her for hours. When we went on vacation, we just had someone come in and feed her and not really spend a lot of time with her. We were gone for several days. We come back. Every time we get close to her, she'd turn around, just show us her butt, and ignore us for a few days until she forgave us, really. Just really nice to have a pet that has such a distinct personality and is really cute and is just this fluffy, wonderful ball of joy that I never expected to like her as much. I never heard of a chinchilla until I met my wife and we started dating, and I never really thought I would get to know an animal like this who's so incredibly intelligent and really a joy to have. A big, wonderful, fun animal. It's great to take her out and have her run around. You've seen lots of our videos of us playing with her. You're running around the floor, on the bed. That's another good way of gauging how your chinchilla is doing, how active and fun they are. If you take your chinchilla out and they just kind of cower somewhere, there might be something wrong. She's either intimidated or scared or anxious, or there's something wrong in her diet. A lot of ways you can tell with the chinchilla is how they're acting. Do they let you approach them? Do they let you hold them? Does she let you, scratch through under her neck, especially like right under her chin is where they really like. And some chinchillas on the top of their head, sometimes not. Some will let you hold in the palm of your hand and rub their bellies. Some won't. Minx doesn't like that personally. So you can tell they let you do those types of things, and they're really doing that at winking. That's an indicator, a lot like a dog wagging their tail. You can tell the chinchilla is happy. If the chinchilla is running around, if you take her out and jumping around and is very active, and her coat looks nice and smooth and not really blotchy and not lots of shedding, you can tell that she's healthy. So there's good ways you can easily tell if your chinchilla is happy and healthy. So the things to remember with a chinchilla are make sure you have the right type of food, make sure you have a little bit of variation in his or her diet with the Timothy hay, and occasionally adding something like some crunchy dried fruits or some specialty chinchilla treats, but make sure it's not too frequently. It's the same with us. If you eat nothing but, Halloween candy and Burger King, you're going to get sick. So the same type of thing. It's nice to change up the diet a little bit and give her a treat and make her happy, but at the same time, don't go overboard. Make sure they have a living space that is enough space. Don't give them those little cramped cages I see a lot. It's very different than a lot of other rodents because of their back legs. They are really made almost like a kangaroo to jump to high places. They like to do that. They like to run and jump around, so they need a lot of space, particularly though vertical space rather than horizontal space, because they like to jump and be up and have lots of different levels. And make sure they have a enclosed space where they can rest during the day, because they are a creature that is more active again around dusk and dawn, and sometimes they're a little more nocturnal depending on the personality of the individual chinchilla. Give them a space where they can be out and playing during the day if they want, or they can kind of hide away if they just want to sleep, and make sure they're in an area where they are around lots of activity, because if you shelter your chinchilla away, say in a bedroom that you're not in frequently, they might not be as adapted to having lots of people around. They get to be very, very sociable and comfortable if they're put in that environment consistently. They are a creature that you have to be careful with putting them in unfamiliar situations or situations that are going to really scare them, freak them out. They are a skittish creature, but a creature that you can make not so skittish just by putting them in an interactive environment where they have a lot to play with, a lot to stimulate their minds. They're very intelligent creatures. Just give them a lot of activity and a lot of love, and they'll be a wonderful pet and return that love.